All right, we're going to talk about our 1-1 notes now. This is page 2 in your set of worksheets that you have. 1-1 is a lot of vocab and terminology. Some of this might be stuff you've heard before in your math classes, and some of it might be new. So, an expression is a group of terms with numbers, variables, and operators. They do not have an equal sign. So an expression doesn't have an equal sign in it. An equation is a math sentence that says two quantities are equal. Equations must have an equal sign. And the last one is an inequality. An inequality is a mathematical sentence that contains one of the following symbols. It will have either the less than sign, the greater than sign, the less than or equal to, the greater than or equal to. Those are the four most common that you're going to see. Or it could also have an equal sign with a line through it. This is the not equal to symbol. So an inequality has to have one of those 5 symbols. So 2x plus 4 is an expression. It's an expression because it doesn't have an equal sign and it doesn't have one of our inequality symbols. This is an example of an expression. An equation has to have that equal sign. So 3x minus 1 equals 2 is an equation. And then 10x plus 3 less than or equal to 4x minus 5 is an inequality because it has this inequality sign. It has that less than or equal to symbol. All right, now we're going to move on to the parts of an expression, equation, and inequality. A variable is a letter that represents a number we don't know. So a variable is a letter. Every variable has a coefficient. Every variable has a coefficient. This is the number in front of the letter, which can be positive or negative. If there's no number written, there's not a number in front of your variable, then the number is 1. So if you don't see a number, there's an imaginary 1 there. A constant is a number added or subtracted that is not attached to the variable. So it's a number kind of by itself. A term is separated by a plus or minus sign. A term can be a single number, which is our constant. It could be just a variable, or it could be the product, which remember means multiplying, of a coefficient and a variable. And the last one is an operator. An operator. Those are our symbols for addition, multiplication, division, or subtraction. So the plus sign is an operator. The minus sign is an operator. The times sign and the division sign, those are operators. So the variable is your letter. So like right up here, this is a variable, x. This is a variable, x. The coefficient is the number in front of it. So I have 2x, x is my variable, 2 is the coefficient. The constant is the number that's by itself. See how this 4 doesn't have a variable attached to it? That means 4 is a constant. This is minus 1. So negative 1 is my constant. Terms are the entire part separated by a plus or minus sign. So 2x is a part, but then there's a plus sign. So 2x is a term, and 4 is a term. 3x is a term, minus 1 is a term, and 2 is a term. And then our operators are those plus, minus, multiply, divide. Equal sign is not an operator. Plus sign is an operator. Minus sign is an operator. This is not an operator, and this is not an operator. So we're going to look at an example together. We've got 2r minus 3s plus t minus 4. It asks you how many terms there are. Terms are separated by plus or minus signs. So I've got 2r and then a minus sign. I've got minus 3s and then a plus sign. I've got plus t and then a minus sign. And I've got minus 4. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. And what are those terms? 2r. That's a comma, 2r, comma. This is minus 3s or negative 3s, comma. Plus t, you don't need to put the plus sign with it, that just means it's positive, so t, and minus 4, which is the same as negative 4. So your 4 terms are 2r, and negative 3s, t, and negative 4. What are the variables? Remember that the variables are the letters. So when you look at this, what are the letters in this expression? R, S, and T. So R, S, and T. The variables are just the letter parts. You don't put the numbers with them. What are our coefficients? Every variable has a coefficient. So I had a variable of R. The coefficient is the number in front of it. In that case, it's 2. I have letter S. The coefficient is the number in front of it. In our case, it's negative 3. And then I had the letter T, the number in front of it. There isn't a number. Remember, that means it's a 1. So 2, negative 3, and 1 are your coefficients. Your constant, the number that's by itself, not attached to a letter. In our case, that is negative 4. There's no letter attached to that. That's your constant. And then what are your operators? I see a minus sign and a plus sign. There's a second minus sign, but you don't need to write it twice.